out. They get to come to a court where it's coming out, the hoops are coming out from the sky. You know, that on its own, what does it shape your mind? I'm putting you in a space so that you can feel like you belong. You know, so that's the intention, that's the drive, that's the motivation, that's the passion that I wish someone had done something like this in my time.
It's, you know, I always make this comparison, you know, when you coach kids, you want them to emulate something, you know, because there's soccer, there's rugby and cricket competing against the sport. Now that we have a Premier League, it's easy now to tell little kids to say, one day you're going to be part of that basketball national league. So it gives us some sort of thing to hold on as well, just when you coach kids or even us participating in the basketball game.
Good day, Coach Vince. I just want to say, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to have this discussion with you. The cover for Unraveled is actually something that I'm doing to give recognition to athletes, to coaches, to all the people doing great things in Cape Town. And essentially, this is it's just one part of what we're trying to do. Where we're going to start off is just simply about who you were before all of this, you know, the bright lights and everything happening, who you were before this. You know, my dad speaks about it a lot, so just talk to me about what it was like.
Thank you for the opportunity to you and Unravel, and you know, we just wish you guys the best in just trying to put a shining light on basketball, you know. First and foremost, I would like to say basketball caught me by default because I was meant to be a soccer star. Like, that's what I was supposed to do. That's what I was meant to do. And I believe that I had enough talent, body, work ethic, and all those attributes that was going to make me to be one. Moreover, my father was a legend playing soccer for a local team, Cape Town Pirates. And vividly, I would say, I remember just growing up as a young boy, when I would go to the stadium, I would sit outside, but one grown up, when they spot me, they will let me enter for free. They will make me sit in a sit-in spot where I could see. They will give me peanuts. They will make sure I have guava juice. So when I reflect and looked at it in my older days, I looked at it and say, that was my VIP treatment that I was receiving. You know, getting the free access, put in a space where I could watch the soccer game and watch my father play. So,
Basketball, not a sport commonly associated with the townships, but for 33-year-old Vincent Ntunja, it was a calling.
We usually would come as soccer guys, we chase those guys who are playing basketball because they're playing this funny sport that is not familiar in the hood. But eventually, I fell in love with the game. One day, we were coming with a group of guys from a soccer training. We saw these guys throwing the ball up with the hands, you know. And you know, in the township, the only sport that was played with the hands is netball, you know. So we're like, who's this sissy guys coming here and not kicking this basketball, you know? So we'll come and just take the ball, throw it around, and, you know, when they see us, they get angry, you know. We kept doing that for like a couple of 3-4 weeks to a month maybe. So when they see us now, they will start running because they're like, oh, hey, these soccer guys, they're coming, you know, just to take our ball, you know. So they will see us. So when they started running, one of them left the ball. So we started just throwing it, you know.
Oh, okay, I see that.
You know, just throwing it, you know, no matter how, you know, just fooling around, just playing, you know. But as I'm throwing this ball funny, man, it keeps going in, you know, like I'm not even sure what I'm doing, but it's going in, you know. And then for us just doing that continuously for like a week or two or so, and then I saw that they were going to have trials at the Gugulethu Sports Complex for this basketball thing that we didn't understand. And then I was like, it's in my hood, I'm going to take a chance, you know, why not?
Hi, my name is Vincent and I'm from Cape Town.
In terms of, to jump to the BNL, right? You play in the BNL, I'm in the BNL right now. What was that like back in the days? I think I watched you play once, and you played number 13, so I was like, hey, number 13, hey, that's my number. so yeah, just talk to me about what that was exactly.
Well, it came even before that, man. Like, I mean, in the days where the PBL, like like you don't know this.
My dad talks about it.
Your
So.
father, like, yo, he was like, yo, Vince, you gotta come to professional, because he played professional before me, and for me, I was just felt like I was good enough for where I was playing. I wanted to play, like I said, professional, national team. I knew that there was a Premier Basketball League happening, but it was not my ambition then, you know. I could just play the game, but I was not even looking at it in any form or shape. You know, I was content with, okay, now I'm a national player in a youth ranks, so that's what I'm gonna keep on doing. We play for under 18s, play for senior team, and hopefully break into the professional side of things. So when he came and fetched me and took me to the first training at Weinberg,
This is my
military
dad,
base.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
He
okay.
came like not once, not twice. Like he was fighting, like because I think he was getting pressure from the French coach Guy, who was owning the club at the time. You know, but for me, like every time I'll just shrug him off because I didn't see the need.
Oh,
you know.
interesting.
So
yeah.
he kept like every second week, yo, Vince, this guy say, if I don't bring you today, I'm not training or I'm not coming, whatever the case may be. So I'm like, let me pick up my bag, let me go, you know, let's go. Took a train, he paid for my train ticket, we went and walked to a Weinberg military base, got there, all these pompous professionals, me as a skinny kid, you know. I was the youngest player, in fact, that was history, that's not documented. So maybe Unraveled is just, you know,
That's what I'm
getting
saying.
the exclusive of
That's
all
what I'm saying, yeah.
the bigger stuff back then, you know, because I made history as the youngest player to play in the PBL.
How old were you?
I was 15.
15.
Yes, 15. You know, so it happened that I played a few games, and then a guy who passed on in one of the PBL games taking a charge, and then apparently there was a rule now that no under 18 player could play and stuff like that. So I was one of those recipients and those guys who was like, okay, we know, chopping you. And I remember those days like, oh, this PBL, beautiful setup. You just show up and that's it. The rest is taken care of. Traveling, flights, food, drinks, money.
My coach was talking about
I'm
it. I
telling
heard
you.
about it. Hey,
I'm telling you.
I'm just like waiting for
My
those
first
days.
salary, I'm like, okay, Oledi, mums, here's something. Kept some for myself. I'm buying shoes for the first time. I remember my first pair of shoes, Fila, Jerry Stackhouse, you know, looking, you know, all jittered up, and my friends, like I'm the one who's like balling, you know, like, this basketball, I'm loving it, you know. So when I think of it right now, man, we could have been very far if basketball was taken care of by administrators who were looking after the game.
Now, Vincent, the NBA Summer League, what exactly is going to happen right there?
Well, it's definitely going to be like an engagement with the Timberwolves staff itself, you know. I'm bringing in my expertise as an African coach, you know, where I'll just bring the culture, I'll just bring the element of Ubuntu among the guys, you know, and I want that to be my form of
Contribution.
giving. Exactly, that's my contribution, you know, that's being authentic. I'm not changing anything that, you know, I am. And then,
Or just in general, everyone in Cape Town to get the opportunity to be able to sit down and have a conversation and get to know what exactly it is like at the Timberwolves G League, at the Cape Town Tigers thing. We see this on TV, but we don't know what happens behind the scenes. So like, talk to me about like, how was that experience, Cape Town Tigers G League? Like, talk to me about that part of your life.
Being part of the Basketball Africa League on itself is an achievement. That I can safely tell you, because it's literally an NBA, but in Africa. Like literally, it's copy and paste of that, because, you know, it's the BAL is the wing of the NBA itself. So for me, it made me understand as well at the levels that we can grow in terms of basketball in Africa, and obviously how that can shape so many young ballers, you know. One thing I believe in is when you have a carrot to dangle, you always get the maximum out of it, because kids now want to go get that carrot that you're dangling. So for us, that Basketball Africa League supposed to be that.
That's what it is.
Where a young Mike, a young whoever coming from Vikings, Gooks, Langa, Nyanga says, this is where I want to go.
get to.
So that was my interest in being part of the Cape Town Tigers and saying, I want to serve in this structure where I'm fortunate to be at the level of professional level. I mean, I coach your Zaire Wade, I coach your Evans Kanapamo.
Hey, we watch this on TV, eh?
You know, all of these
Watching
guys,
you,
Josh Hall, you know, guys who've been in the NBA, you know, what's his name again? It just slips my mind now. Slim Reaper. He was playing for Angola now. What's his name? Patney. Rafael Patney.
Rafael. Okay,
You know, professionals at high levels who has played for at San Antonio Spurs, you know, and I worked with a former LA coach who was with Phil Jackson in the winning team when they had Kobe's and Ron Artad, you know, So all of those things shaped me in a way that I belong here. This is my space as well, and I've paid my dues. And for me being here, it's not by default again. It's just that it's their Lord that I praised, showing me that basketball is the vehicle to continue just learning, continue to just be a student of the game, and obviously taking me to these higher levels means that at some point I gotta bring it down to the levels where all this experience is shared on the grassroots level. Now came the opportunity to go to the NBA. That on its own put me on another level in a sense that it made me understand why some guys get to be too cocky, or you lose yourself, or you become something that you're not, because bruh, you gotta know yourself to be in that space. If you don't know yourself in that space, you can lose yourself. That I can tell you easy. From Cape Town, the moment I went to the Cape Town airport, everything is 5-star. From the moment I went in the international airport, everything is 5-star. How I'm flying from Cape Town to changing my flight in New York to Minnesota, from Minnesota staying some time, going to Las Vegas, all of that is 5-star. So then you can easily be pompous, you can easily lose yourself, you can be all these glossy things that you see in the bright lights, you know. So that for me, again, I was absorbing. That for me, I was seeing it as a platform where, oh, you are put in this pedestal again continuously. Because remember now, here I was as a young kid making the national team. Here I was now meeting Michael Jordan, the greatest sporting athlete, giving me an MVP award. Here I am now, when I go to my community, they give me a basketball court that's named after me. Here I am now, I'm getting a chance to get to the NBA. I sit like this with Anthony Edwards, like, yo, man, when are you coming back to Africa? Hey, coach, next year I want to be the best version of myself. You know, so all of those things for me, when I reflect and look at them, were like a blessing. And I'm giving it to see, or rather tested on how I can transform that and let it spread across. Hence now my influence go as far as Diro Rubele in Botswana, Jupe in KZN, Sentin Stars in Joburg, your Soweto academies of this world, you know, because we're creating this platform because I understand what these ballers need. We're creating this platform because I feel that this is what the basketball space need in order to go into the next level. A kid now from Crossroad who only used to play in Gugulethu Sports Complex, a court that is depleted, that doesn't have, that's slippery, you know. Now they get to come to a court where it's coming out, the hoops are coming out
from the sky.
You know, that on its own, what does it shape your mind?
Exactly,
I'm putting you in a space so that you can feel like you belong. You know, so that's the intention, that's the drive, that's the motivation, that's the passion that I wish someone had done something like this in my time. You know, hence I don't hesitate to put these bright lights for these kids so that they can feel the professional setup in it. When they enter here, they're like, wow, you know, basketball does exist, but we didn't know that it even exists into this scale, you know. So that's the drive, that's the motivation, man. So when we see guys like you going to BNL, represent, fighting, wearing the badge, talking about these numbers that you guys wear, it's also motivate us because we sit and say, Mike, you're not only just representing yourself, as much as good as you are, but you know that you're carrying loads of people that want to wear the same vest. People who just want, when they see you on TV, they're like, hey, I wish I could be like him. So the chain continues, the legacy continues, and that's what drives us.
But Vincent Ntunja, I know you love sports. Before we get to know what's happening in the world of sports, let's just do a recap of what you do exactly. Because I know you do like really good work in the communities of Cape Town. Remind the viewers exactly what you do.
Well, I'm currently busy now with a project NGO called African Grassroot Hoops, which basically uses the sport just to put kids together from Langa, Nyanga, Kailicha, Bontierville, you name it. We're even working with guys like Shafiq in Mitchell's Plain, where we're trying to take the kids out of the streets so they don't become used to the falling social ills and become gangsters and stuff.
In terms of you personally, I know the African Grassroot we here at the Youth Classic to basketball tournament event. What is your legacy? What do you want to leave behind in terms of just whatever has been happening around you and what you've been building?
So the legacy part for me would be when the court that was named after me is producing more basketball players, because that for me on its own, it's got to be a hub where we're planting a seed, where big corporate sponsors come, we make it a huge space, even like this, where now we're not only accessing it in Tamborskloof in town, but we can access it in Delft, we can access it in Gugulethu, we can access it in Nyanga, where now kids can have a safe space where they can hone their skills. That for me is now knowing that we're moving in the right direction when it comes to infrastructure legacy, sports legacy, because then kids will have an alternative. Soccer, rugby, cricket, they're already taken over. Netball is also coming up as a big sport for the ladies as well. But for us as a basketball community, we have an edge that basketball, your looks, your kicks, your fashion, your lifestyle, the talk, the walk, the fashion side of things, the court side of things, those are things that add extra value for us, the hip hop, so we have to maximize that. So now with the legacy of having the sport, the lifestyle, everything else fit into that, we just make a good product that we can give it to the world and say, kids, here's a pot of different career paths that you can choose. If you don't make it as a basketball player, why not try it as a ref? Why not try it as an official? If you can't make it as a rapper, why not try it as an MC? Why not try it as a presenter? We're creating this big hub. So for me, that is what I see as a legacy, where a platform is created for so many young boys and girls to say, I want this career path, I don't have to look far. And Mike says now, I want a chance where I could get a loophole to go to States because I'm above the rest because of the work ethic. Then there must be a channel where we channel you, get to Europe, get to States, further your basketball career if you don't have a professional league in South Africa. So those are type of thought patterns that continues to go into my head. And it's not going to stop. And this why we create something like this Youth Classic, where now kids can use the videos that they took here for their own clips. They get a 1-2 minute clip, they can send it to a university either in South Africa or in Europe or in the US, where they can get a chance to further their careers, man. Because I believe talent-wise, we can reach that. Because let me tell you why. An African kid, what I like about an African kid, you don't have to teach effort. It's natural, it comes natural. It's how you build. Like, might go buy bread now, you're not gonna look back and say, wow, you're sending me bread now. You're running there, you're getting that bread. That's effort, that's you wanting to know that bread is gonna feed you. If you don't go, you know that you're going hungry for the rest of the day, So that on its own, it's something that we should pride ourselves on, As much as we don't have an American skill set yet because of lacking of resources, but the fact that we have the hunger, the effort, that combine it now when we have the resources that we need. Man, just think of it yourself, what can happen in that.
They signal me to end this. I'm loving this. I want to have more of this, and just to be able to pick the brains of the guys who's done it before.
Still part one, man.
And hey, we can even say that's a part one and find a way to make a part two. But like I said, this is just the beginning of it. I want to say thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it, and continue doing what you're doing for me, this was something I used to look up to and being like, hey, I want to play there. No, I want to play there. So, and I ended up having my opportunity, but then to be able to just be behind the scenes and have all these cameras here, to be able to talk to you on camera and be able to publicize this to everyone else so that they can get the vision behind what's happening is very, very, very great. And I love the fact that I got this opportunity.
Appreciate you, Mike. Appreciate you, man. Thanks again for the time. Thanks again to the media crew. Thanks for everyone for just highlighting basketball in a positive space.